Joining us right now is somebody we ran into last night, Barry Sternlicht, who's the chairman and CEO of Starwood Capital. Barry, what are you doing at the Olympics? What's up?
What everyone else is doing, going to see as many events as possible, and running into people like you guys, and ad-libbing it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's been a crazy busy news cycle up to this point. Things have maybe slowed down as we hope people are taking a break to watch some of these games and seeing what's going on, but there's always all of these things in the backdrop in the markets. You've got a Fed meeting this week with the announcement coming tomorrow. What are you anticipating hearing? What would you like to hear?
Well, I think by now everyone knows what I'd like to hear. Finally, the data's showing up as we expected it to. I mean, you have core inflation below 2% if they take out the rent component, which they should. And I think my whole industry is now rallied behind this war cry of like, why do we use old data for this one component of CPI? Which is the rent component of the CPI. So I hear it more and more. I know people are talking to the Fed like everything's been brought current. This is a measure that's obviously easy to keep current. Like you could get apartment rents off of your computer in 3 seconds. Housing, food prices are current, oil prices are current, everything's current except for rents. And it's why the Fed missed the rise in inflation in the beginning, and now they're not seeing the deflation that's happening in the economy. And he knows it, Powell's aware of it, so if they don't cut tomorrow because he's sort of boxed himself in, then they'll cut in September.
Although, Barry, to be fair, you were calling for a rate cut for a very long time. The economy's doing fine without it.
Yeah, but again, it's not Powell. I mean, I think he gets way too much credit. Like, the economy's bubbling along because of the fiscal spending. And the newest kid on the block, the biggest new stimulus package is data centers.
But just like Powell knows about that, he knows about that spending, too. It may be something he has to accommodate.
Yeah, but he couldn't anticipate it. And Amazon, Meta, Google's spending has nothing to do with interest rates.
If he had cut earlier, don't you think that we would have had even more inflation?
No.
You don't?
No.
Why?
Because the economy is not based on that right now. The context of the current economy, where half the jobs are healthcare, government, and education, those jobs aren't dependent on interest rates up or down. We added 3 million jobs since May of 22 in those 3 sectors of the economy. He can't impact that. He has impacted the housing market, which is bad long term. It will create more inflation long term.
When you say deflation,
Not deflation.
Okay, then don't. Okay.
Less inflation.
Disinflation.
Yeah. Okay.
No, deflation. So prices are.
Commodity prices are falling.
The rate of inflation, are they falling, or okay? Overall inflation is moderating in terms of the amount of price rises. We're not seeing prices go back down. We're not seeing deflation.
Food prices are beginning to fall year over year, but not below pre-pandemic levels.
Right, but not the markets themselves.
Yeah.
And I know, to you that means like rentals or multifamily, not that market. The other market is hot. It's hot.
What, the stock market?
Yeah, it didn't need any rate cuts at all.
But look how concentrated the growth of the stock market has been in 5, 6 names that are dominated by this frenzy of AI.
Bitcoin, commodities, all kinds of things were
yeah, I mean, actually, the commodity picture is pretty benign. Oil's sitting around 80 plus or minus. Interest rates are sort of okay. It wasn't the level of interest rates, it's how fast we got there. Yeah. It wasn't the interest rate. The 10-year may not move anywhere, but the short end will come down. I hope.
Can we get you to weigh in on the single topic? We tried with David Solomon earlier, but it's the topic that everybody here is talking about.
What could that be?
The election, the presidential election in the United States. And if we had talked about this 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think you probably would have said that you thought former President Trump would become the president.
That's true.
I don't know what you think now. I'm very curious about that. And also, if you think former or Vice President Harris becomes the president, does she become a more centrist president of the Biden administration, or become a more progressive president?
Wait a minute.
The Biden administration.
The Biden administration was a centrist administration?
No, I said would they become more centrist?
Okay, wait. Both of you want to lead the witness here.
Yeah. No, more centrist or more progressive. That's about as equal as it comes.
We spoke last night.
Okay,
not
for it.
Anywhere.
Half the nation is independent still. Whoever goes to the middle will win the election. If Trump can convince some of the centrists, like myself, that he'll be a moderate, he wins. And I don't think it's in her nature to go to the middle. She's further left than Biden, and she has some policies that are obviously abhorrent to business. And we'll see how that plays out. Right now, she's riding a tidal wave of relief. And
Exactly.
she needs to go to the center. I think her vice presidential pick will be somewhat important. Trump cemented his right with J.D. Vance. She can do something different. I mean, her meetings in Washington have mostly been with the Black Caucus and the progressives. She's kind of ignored the moderates, and this comes directly from congressmen.
We keep hearing that they're reaching out to people in the crypto world now, and Silicon Valley.
He's on his whole new, he's unpredictable.
Oh,
No, I'm not talking about. Yes, he's showing up at Bitcoin conferences, but no, she apparently
Look, I
is
think
reaching out.
most of us in the middle agree with some things on both sides, right? It's just the other positions like pro-choice, pro-life, and who votes. Will women and kids vote? And if women and kids vote, Kamala has a super good chance of winning.
Kamala. You will get yelled at if you don't get that, because
it's emphasis on
Trump does it on purpose. Trump does it on
La, you're calm.
It's Kamala.
Yeah, because Trump on
Vice
purpose.
President Harris.
Yeah, Trump on purpose says Kamala, and people don't like that.
Does she have a chance of winning you over if she does move left, or have you made up your mind at this point?
She moves center, not left.
I mean, to move to the center.
I think on business, we all think the FTC has lost their center. Some of the things they're going after, they're coming after some industries in real estate where, like, collectively, we and another company own less than 1/10 of 1% of the market, and they're looking at our pricing. I mean, this is sort of crazy stuff, especially when you have Google with, 95% of search or something like that. So I think that woman has gone off the deep end on some of her.
You're talking about Lena Khan.
Yes, Lena Khan. So
yeah, not the vice president.
I agree, and I think, on the Middle East, if you're like I am, you have to be in favor of Trump. She's been from the start, and her daughter, they've been very anti-Israel. So,
what do you think of J.D. Vance?
He's smart.
That's where you want to leave that?
I've read his book. I like the book. I don't recognize the politics per se.